Welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. We are here in the boarding house close to our school, and these are the first year college students, while I am in my second year. And we are going to ask them about their experiences being in a boarding house and about their face to face classes. So we're gonna go first with Michelle. So, Michelle, how is your experience being in a boarding house for the first time away from your parents?
It is hard to adjust on the other environment in the other environment, but I know that I can. I miss my family, but I know that I can surpass these challenges in my life, and I I don't give up to pursue my dreams because this is for us and to help my family in the future, and this is for me to have a better future.
So, how are you in this kind of setup? Have you adjusted uh, with the other board member? Have you adjusted with the other board mates?
Yes, I can adjust on them because the they have the good deeds towards me, and they have kind hearted people. And I am comfortable here because there is a complete you there's a complete things to use, and at the event give us money to buy our food to eat.
So, how are your face to face classes?
My face-to-face classes is okay, and I meet a new friends, and my classmates have a good quality, and also I buy a lot of things that I need in my school, like school supplies, shoes, and t-shirt t-shirt to be wear when I will go to school.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So, we have here Gia. How is your experience being in a boarding house away from your parents, Gia?
It is difficult to be a part of your family because before you enter college and before you go in your boarding house, you and your family band together. But because of your dreams, you will be a part of your parents, and you need to pursue that in order to aim your goals.
So, how are you in this kind of setup? Have you
Um,
adjusted to your board mates?
and yes, this setup is good, and because we have comfortable place, and even though it is different environment, we aim to adjust this kind of setup because it is part of our goals in life, and it is part of our
So, lastly, Gia, how are your face to face classes?
about my study. It is difficult to adjust new classmates, new school, but by the God's grace, you will meet new friends, and you will stay by them to grow as a student, and that's all. Thank you.
So, at the IB, how is your experience being in a boarding house away from your parents?
Firstly, I am very grateful to Ate Ibes and Sir Terence for this blessing that I got a place to stay in while I pursue my studies. Um, and about this kind of setup, it's my first time being away from my parents. But um, when I first got here, everything was new to me. The people, the environment, and um, the feeling of being far from my parents was actually very overwhelming. But uh, whenever I think about our disposition in life, I'm always fueled by courage and passion because in order to achieve my dreams, I really have to make some sacrifices and I have to endure what has to be endured. And yes, it's a bit sad at first because I really miss my parents now. my family, my entire family back in Cebu. But I'm glad that we still are able to communicate with each other through video call. And yes, for it's been a week since we have stayed here in the boarding house, but at first it was very lonesome, but now I am slowly adjusting. I have slowly adjusted from everything in this new setup.
How are you in this kind of setup?
Mm, since I have board mates with me in this boarding house, I have um, we have different personalities here. We have different needs and wants, but with understanding for each other, we're able to have a harmonious bond atmosphere here in the boarding house. And yes, I've adjusted to it out already.
How are your face-to-face classes?
My face-to-face classes are just fine. I was able to make it through the first day. It's since I'm a transferee and it's a new school for me. There are still a lot of things that I don't know about. I still don't know the way around the school, but but for the in this past few days, I was able to make new friends, new acquaintances, and they were able to help me adjust to the new environment. And also, the teachers are just fine. They are, I can say that they are effective educators. Yes.
So, Grisel, how is your experience being in a boarding house away from your parents?
My experience being in a boarding house away from my parents is so difficult to adjust because it is my first time to be a part of them, and I have a lot of changes in my life because when in our house I didn't wake up early to cook our breakfast, but when I'm in the boarding house I woke up early because my mother is not here to prepare my breakfast, but I promised to myself that I can handle this kind of situation to pursue my dreams.
How are your face-to-face classes?
My face-to-face classes is good because I meet a new friends and classmates, and it's very challenging because we started our basic movements in martial arts. So, Elaine, how is your experience being in a boarding house away from your parents?
So, being away from my parents is not easy. For me, it's very difficult because I'm not ready to away from my family. Actually, I am a mama's girl, but now I need to use being away from them to pursue my dreams. And I promise myself that I will do it.